Hi, and welcome to the channel if you're new, and welcome back if you're already a subscriber. I really am excited you're here for this one. This one, I am taking you along. I am dressed for work. This is the vehicle that I go to work in, and this is about my personal EDC that I carry each and every day, and also my work EDC that is so important in a world that is changing fast. There's conflict, there is chaos, and there's instability, and I don't tend to believe all of the politicians. I don't know about you, but I think we need to look after ourselves and our families and be responsible for that. In a world in chaos and war, what you carry every day could mean the difference between life and death. This is an essential guide to personal and vehicle EDC, everyday carry items, optimized for surviving uncertain times. Let's get into it. Again, I am in my everyday work clothes and I am ready to go to work. I work in soil health and regenerative ag. This job requires me to be at many times more than an hour away from home by vehicle. So what do you do about that? How do you make sure that you can, in any case, make it home to your family? Because that is the most important thing. Safely. Talking about EDC, and EDC is a term that in the preparedness community is tossed around a lot. And I'm just gonna say this at the beginning, it's not just about gear. It is about our mindsets, our readiness, and our adaptability to the situation. When we have a world that is in chaos and war, your EDC shifts from convenience to survival. And it's not just being tactical, it's actually a practical thing. And by all means, this is not a video that covers everything for everyone and for everyone's situation. It is a good fit for my circumstances and our weather where we live. Yours might be different. You also need to think about your local laws, and we'll get to that in a minute. But a couple questions that you need to ask, and you can think about these. Are these the right questions even? Here's the first one. Can I communicate? Can I defend myself? Can I escape danger? Can I administer aid to someone? And can I find, or do I have food or water? The key areas that we're going to cover are comms, protection, navigation, medical, and sustainment. Let's keep going. Let's break it down what you should actually carry on your body, in my opinion, every single day. We're going to tabletop some of these things so we can really see what we should do. The first item that I carry with me, doesn't matter what pair of pants that I've got on, is my pocket knife. And this is just a basic little buck knife you can pick up pretty much anywhere. It's decent quality steel and it's easy to sharpen and keep sharp. And it's just done a job for years. And the grip is almost smooth because it's been in my pocket for so long and gone in and out so many times, so many uses. The next piece that I have on my body is on my belt, and that is a Leatherman multi-tool. You can get Leatherman, you can get Gerber, there's multiple different brands out there, but this is just a very good tool that goes with me all the time. It's got the ability to cut wire, very good wire clippers. This tool has seen a lot of action, and I've never had to actually replace these blades, although they are replaceable. But the amount of times that you can have to get a hold of a wire or something, or snip something, and man, I mean, this thing's got, if you go through all the different tools, you've got your Phillips head. How many times does that come in handy? And then you've got your flat screwdrivers of multiple sizes. You've got cutting blades, you've got a saw, you've got all sorts of things that make this an amazing tool just to have on your body at all times. So I just keep that on my belt. The next one that I'm going to talk about is a flashlight. And I absolutely love carrying this little O-Light. And the reason I do so much is because it's not a rechargeable, it's not these new fancy things, which I have some of those as well, but I love this one because it just takes a plain old AA battery. And it's so easy to change out. It's waterproof, it's got the O-ring in there, and then it's also got the double way clip. So you can actually clip this to your ball cap and turn this into a headlamp as well. So much versatility. It's got 2 modes. So just a light press, and you've got just a small amount of light, and then you've got up to 300 lumens on this when you put it to full power. I love it because I carry multiple batteries, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, but man, this gives you so much light, so much versatility in a very small, convenient package. The next little item is I always, in all of my jackets, in all of my pairs of pants, I keep just a little lighter. I'm not a smoker, but I believe in always being able to light a fire, whether it be for warmth, whether it be for signaling, whether it be for cooking, doesn't matter. It's always good to have a lighter on you no matter what. And of course, I've always got my phone, which it is on the tripod recording this video right now, but I always have a phone with emergency apps. I have offline apps on my phone as well, so they are downloaded and ready to go. And I also will show you some paper maps that I use as well. I do carry a wallet as well. I'm not gonna bring that out, but I always do carry some small bills of cash in that for any unforeseen circumstance. And I also carry cash in the backpack that I'm gonna show you just in a second. Here's one thing I want to say. If something that I'm talking about is not legal to carry where you live, adapt the item to something that is and try to keep the capability. Another item that I carry on myself is a watch, and the watch is not the digital kind, but it's the one with the hands, and that is for navigation. I'm not going to get into how to do it right now, but you can use a watch with hands to always find your directions. Other than a few Band-Aids, I don't carry a whole lot other than that, what I've just went over, on my person. If you live in a place where you can carry a cordless hole puncher, then by all means, if you're legally able to do that, do so. The first thing I want to talk about when we talk about vehicle EDC is footwear. And most people kind of don't think about this, but I want you to think about if you ever had to leave the vehicle, and hopefully you never have to, but if you ever had to leave the vehicle and walk anywhere, what kind of footwear are you wearing? And right now, I'm wearing just some nice, regular, kind of dressy, casual shoes, something somewhere in the middle. But those would not be a good choice to walk a long distance. So I'm going to show you what I have in the vehicle. Now, these assist me, and I put these on when I am walking fields and all of that, and you can see I've got a boot knife strapped to this as well. But these have really good insoles in them, and they actually have steel toes on them as well for work-related purpose. But they go with me everywhere, and they get the ankle support, they have the insoles, right? So I can travel on these. I've used these boots, I've done, I think it was 12 miles on gravel, up and down hills, that sort of thing, and they performed well. So I just carry these in the back of the truck as my secondary footwear. And if I ever need them, other than just with work-related tasks, if I ever need to leave the vehicle, they are there, they're ready to go, and that's what I would go to. And I wanted to talk about just having an extra blade. You already saw that on my person I carry a pocket knife, I carry a multi-tool. Well, why would I carry a boot knife? Well, in a really bad scenario, I don't know about you, but there may be people that you are around that may actually not have the right EDC with them. So if it's a time where you actually need someone else that may have something that will help them in a defensive sort of scenario, this might be an opportunity just to pass something to them that you are carrying with you so that they also have some capability. They also can help. Does that make sense? I'm not gonna drag it out because it's not really EDC, it's just something that I carry in here. I just wanted to mention it, and that would be, this truck is diesel, so I carry a container of DEF fluid. Because although I have a rule where I'm always as close to topped up as possible, you never know. And again, maybe you're with someone who hasn't prepared as well as you, and that might be just the thing that you need to help them get to where they're going. All right, so now we're gonna talk about the big things. We're gonna talk about the bag. First thing I wanna talk about, and I'll put some B-roll into this, but this bag is just an Eddie Bauer bag, and the reason I use it is because it looks just casual. It looks like I'm going for a hike, right? Or I'm just going for a walk, or I'm a student. It does not look like I am loaded up with life-saving materials and that I am ready to take on any challenge. And that's the point. In my opinion, you don't want to make yourself look like you stick out. So that's why you're not going to see a whole bunch of molly gear. You're not going to see a whole bunch of tactical looking stuff in this EDC, because if it really goes down, I want to, as quickly as possible and as stealthily as possible, without as much confrontation as possible, I want to get home and I want to look after my family. Do you agree with that? So let's get into this. The first thing I want to show is right on the outside, because you never know what you're going to run into weather-wise. And I know I could put a military type poncho in that, and I know people are going to be like, you got to get one of those. Well, I do have one of those, and it's in my tactical kit. But for this purpose, for extra weather coverage, and I also have a jacket in here, which I'm going to show you, but I just wanted to show these. I carry several. There's 2 large drumliner garbage bags. Drumliner garbage bags, they can be, you just put a little hole in the top and you can make a whole poncho that you can put over all of your gear, keep it dry. You can always use a drumliner. You can actually cut this thing down the seam and it will spread out. You can put it for a whole ground cover. You can, in a pinch, also take this and put it right over top of you in a sort of tarp shelter system. And remember guys, this is not for, I'm not saying this is for a week or 2 weeks or anything. This is a get home as soon as you can. You're within 2 hours drive and you just need to get home. So this is mostly for 24 hours, maybe a little bit longer, but mostly that 24-hour window, and hopefully a lot shorter than that. Like we're talking 1 or 2 hours if you can travel highway speed. But if you get caught up in something that you have to go around, or there's barricades, or there's destruction, there's chaos, all of those things, you have that 24, maybe 48 hours of sustenance and pieces that will get you to where you want to go. Remember, it's about traveling light. You don't want to be carrying a 50-pound bag cross country if you have to, right? I want to carry a 15 to 20-pound bag, because that looks normal out there and it also feels good. You're not going to destroy yourself on your way home. 15 to 20 pounds, almost anyone can carry that, and it's not gonna hurt your body to do it. So let's get into this really quickly. I wanna show you what's in each of these pockets. So here we've got a little bit of cash in a Ziploc. We've got a compass for navigation. And then I also wanted to show you, because you know, you can always have more blades. I like having this guy because it gives you capabilities that you don't have with a smaller blade, right? So this is just an excellent little folding knife that gives you a lot of capabilities in a relatively small package. But again, in a survival situation, do you want that? I'm going to show you some B-roll where I actually put that on. And because of the way it pocket clips, you can't even tell that you're carrying that 6-inch blade. Let's keep going to the next pocket. And this is where I carry a very packable, water-resistant jacket. And again, it's by an outdoor company, outdoor brand. And inside these pockets, I've got some hand warmers, and I've actually got another lighter and another small flashlight. Oh, and I wanted to show you too, on my keys, and this is again personal EDC, I do carry another one of these little Olight, tiny little flashlights that just stays on my key ring all the time. So multiple ways to light your way, multiple ways to, tools to cut things, to turn things, whatever you need, screwdrivers to get into things. So it's multiple ways, that you're carrying with you. Again, it's only for 24 to 48 hours, but you want to have multiple ways to do things. So let's keep going. Continuing on, we've got some gloves in here. Hand protection is very important. This little section of the backpack is mostly protection items and tools. So I'm going to go through these. Oh, and another large fixed blade. So we've got a big fixed blade that you can really baton through wood if you needed to make a fire for warmth. And it's also got a little ferro rod included in there. So that's important to start fires on top of all of the lighters that I carry. Sometimes you just want that redundancy of a extra ferro rod. So again, a large fixed blade knife, and it's not an expensive one. I think I picked it up for 20 bucks, and you can just stick it in the kit. It's good to go. It's gonna chop through wood, even though it's not, over $100 or something ridiculous, and it's gonna work for you. Let's keep going. So in here, I've got some power banks to, just in case my phone or my headlamp needs a recharge, which I haven't even showed you the headlamp, but these will recharge my phone, they'll recharge my headlamp for about four different charges. So these are great to have with you. And then of course I've got the cables to go with it, because there's nothing like not having the cables. As we continue here, I've got a little fix-it kit or build-it kit. And this is some mason line because of its strength. And I've got a little roll of duct tape as well as a roll of electrical tape. And I like having those two kinds of tape because they have different purposes. Duct tape has the fiber in it, and the electrical tape, it just has a different property to it. So I like having both of those things, and they're relatively compact. You can just pick that stuff up at a dollar store or whatever. And then I have zip ties. Zip ties are always good to have. Something that's really important that's on my list on every kit is an N95 mask. So having an N95 mask, and I've got it of course in a Ziploc bag, an N95 mask gives you the capability to breathe without breathing in particulates. Particulates that may be toxic, particulates that may be radioactive. There's all of the above you don't want in you. You want to keep them out of you, and this is a way to do that effectively. So I always carry N95 masks. It might be better to carry 2 or 3. I for sure have one in here. At the bottom here, I have an extra pair of glasses. Now these are just an older pair of glasses. I only use glasses for driving and driving at night, and I wear contacts as well. But these are just kind of that extra set just in case something happens to my contacts or whatever. Going on inside here, let's keep digging. So I have an inexpensive headlamp in here. So this is just redundancy because sometimes you want the hands free, and it goes beyond even what I carry in this, which can be turned into a headlamp, but you have to wear a hat. This one you don't have to wear a hat, and you can just have that capability. So have lots of options for light. Let's get into this little package because I carry multiple bags of batteries. And like I said, this is for the headlamp. It's an extra set. It is rechargeable, but then you can take out that power pack and just put in regular batteries. And then I have the AA batteries as well to change out that for my flashlight. So I never want to run out of light if it's needed. So I have plenty of batteries in storage. I'll put them in the pockets of my coats inside a Ziploc and I make sure that they're taped together or rubber banded together so they don't touch each other and all that stuff. Let's continue on. I have a whole bunch of hot rods or meat sticks, beef sticks in particular, and that is just an extra fun little source of protein and fat and energy to keep you if you had to walk, if you're just hungry. Those are just a great thing to eat. They're shelf stable for years and you can munch on them. So that's what I carry in there. Let's keep going. Into the main pouch, you can see that we've got a well-equipped first aid kit with a tourniquet as well. This medical kit is one that I highlighted in a build your medical kit video. So I would challenge you to go back and watch that video. I'll put a link in the description below, but watch this video on how to build, I think I did 4 different med kits, and it's powerful stuff that you can build a med kit that is so much better than what you can buy at the store for relatively, it's just inexpensive to do this, but you can make a very effective medical kit. But I have this, it's for trauma, it's for boo-boos, it's for everything in between. It's a well-equipped med kit. So let's keep digging. Now we're gonna get into water. And I carry this guy in here, and it is full of water. And I like this one because I've used it for carrying large amounts of water, but not only that, you can put this over a fire because it's a single wall. It's not a vacuum flask. So yes, your water doesn't stay cold for as long, but it also allows you to use this container. Obviously with the lid off, you can use this container over a fire or over a stove to heat up your water, heat up your meals. So let's talk about meals. I've got various options for meals, but this is a full 24-hour MRE. It's got a breakfast, lunch, and dinner in here, and it is just an amazing thing. I also did a full explanation how-to video on making your own DIY MREs. So I encourage you to check that out after this video, and I'll put that link in the description as well. These are pieces that all fit together within a system. So let's keep going. I also have, oh, and there's another lighter, but I also have a few different protein bars, energy bars, and instant coffee. Instant coffee, because sometimes you're gonna need that little pick-me-up. There's also, I think, 3 packs of instant coffee in that MRE, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, and then I've got, if I had to pick up more water than that 2 quarts that are in that container there, I also have water treatment tablets. So I have enough water treatment tablets to treat that 3 times, as well as I have these little tablets, and these little tablets are electrolyte tablets. Very cool little things. And why do I have electrolyte tablets? Well, if you had to walk a long distance or something like that, or you were sweating, there was no AC for some reason, you need to replace those electrolytes. So that's a way to do it. Continuing on, socks and underwear, a little vacuum sealed Ziploc bag. So why socks and underwear? Well, the underwear should be self-explanatory, but the socks, these are boot socks that are great at wicking sweat. And if you're gonna put on those boots and you're gonna travel a long distance, you are gonna want these kind of boot socks. So I always carry an extra pair of socks in every pack that I've got, and a set of underwear. I also have in here an extra t-shirt, because as you can see, I've got a button-up shirt, and I want just a t-shirt that I can throw on. I can look even more casual and just go on my way. That about sums it up for this bag. I'm just gonna get regrouped and I'll show you a few things that are still in the vehicle. Another item that I keep in the vehicle at all times and is legal in my area is something that gives me long-range defensive capability. That, of course, is something that is up to you in your jurisdiction, in your application, and up to you in your judgment. That's what I have. Let's talk about a couple more things. I always have with me a ball cap or some other sort of hat, and it's a fairly nondescript hat. If you have a company hat, those are perfect because it really is gray man. It doesn't say a whole lot. And then I also carry a paper copy of my area's map. So these you can find at most county offices. You can also carry a state or provincial map for those purposes. And I just recommend having a paper map, and you saw the compass that I carry in the bag, and a cap, something to cover your head, something that helps you look, I guess, more just like you fit in. So that's the reason for it. In my opinion, your vehicle is your forward operating base in a really bad situation. It is your fallback position. It is the safest place to be a lot of times. That is why I'm going over this in such a way. The core contents that we've talked about are comms. It's really great to have a ham radio or at least a walkie-talkie, so it gives you that longer range communication without having to rely on your cell phone. Navigation, having the map and having a compass that goes along with it so you can find your way. Having a wristwatch with the hands and knowing how to do that is a good thing. Medical, having a trauma kit, tourniquets, quick clot, right? Soaker bandages, slings, splints, all of those things together give you capabilities in a really bad situation, right? Burn cream. It's really important that you have things to treat injuries. Lots of gauze. Let's just say that again, lots of gauze. And sustainment. 1 to 2 to 3 days maybe of water and high calorie rations. It's great to have a portable stove with you or some way to heat water at least. It's good to have a tarp or other things like I've shown. It's good to have mobility. Now we're going to get into other things that you have in your vehicle, and these go without saying. You should have a full-size spare tire, a compressor. You should have jumper cables or a jumper pack. You should have a tow strap. You should have a whole safety package, and you should have a foldable shovel. This is an all-in-one vehicle kit. It's got jumper cables, some extra gloves, some hand warmers, a small tow strap. It's got a whole bunch of stuff for your vehicle, and it's an all-in-one thing that you can pretty much buy off the shelf, stick in your vehicle, and have some peace of mind. Also, make sure that you have a fire extinguisher of some kind. A small dry chemical one is great for vehicles because it fights the kind of fires that you most often have with vehicles. So always have a fire extinguisher in your vehicle. For security, again, as laws apply in different jurisdictions, having those defensive tools available to you, knowing how to use them. Have emergency escape tools. I have attached to my seat belt in the front seat, actually it's a tool called a Gerber glass breaker, and it's got a seat belt cutter on it, right? It's a tool that if something happens and this vehicle rolls over or whatever happens, I can cut my seat belt, I can get out. It's always attached right there. This kind of expands the scope, but talking about some way to camouflage your vehicle if needed. So that would be carrying a camouflage net or shade cover, because then you can park and maybe sleep if you needed to with some relative stealth. Here is the big thought from this. A vehicle is not a tank, but it can be your best chance of escape of a situation that's bad, and it also is your best chance of getting home. So you treat it like that. Make sure you have the things to make your trip happen and make it happen safely. This last section, I want to share something that is really important, and it's all about rotation, it's about practice, and it's about gray man tips. So your gear, all this gear that we've talked about, is really useless if you don't know how to use it or if it breaks. And that's why you've seen so many times redundancy. I've got several ways to make a fire. I've got multiple ways to make light when it's dark. I've got several ways to keep dry, all right? These are all important things. For example, if I don't know the capabilities of this little radio and I go to use it in a really bad day and it doesn't work for what I need it to work for, what good is it? Why did I spend the money on that? So learn about these things and learn their capabilities and practice with them so that you know their capabilities. I know that if it's relatively flat ground, I can probably get 5 to 10 miles out of this. But if I'm in the city or town where there's buildings in between everything, I'm probably more like 1 to 2 miles, right? So I know these things because I've tried them. I've tried them out. I've tried communicating with my family back and forth from home base, basically. Gold base, this is gold leader. Sit rep, please. And figure this stuff out. And it's important you do the same. Know how to use a map, know how to use a compass. These are important things that we can learn now before we ever get in this situation. What do I mean by rotation? Rotation means every month I'm looking at the batteries. Is this fully charged? And this one is. It's good to go. So you check your batteries, swap them out if you need to. Knives, are they sharp? This knife that I carry all the time, I sharpen it. If I've used it a whole bunch, I'll definitely sharpen it and make sure that it's good to go. Checking those radios again. Then let's talk about seasonal checks. If you need different medications like allergy medications in the summer or the spring, whatever it is for your area, make sure that you have them in your kit. Make sure that you have them EDC'd, right? And also rotating out that food and water. We make our own DIY MREs and we use them for outdoor adventures like hiking trips, camping trips, that sort of thing. Even on vacation we use them, and I go into that in the video that I made. You should check that out. But we rotate those and make sure that they're fresh. Also, your water. Water does not stay in a container forever. It's not good in there forever. So you want to make sure you're swapping that out, you know, dumping it out or drinking it and changing that out so you've got fresh water. So make sure that you are looking at all of these things on a somewhat regular basis. I don't know if it's a monthly process for you or a quarterly process for you or a seasonal process for you, but make sure that you're doing it somewhat regularly. And also, on the issue of carrying a lot of things, I said my bag weighs about 15 to 20 pounds. Check your bag weight. If it comes in and you're like, oh, I need all this stuff and it's 35 pounds, can you carry that bag for 10 miles? Right now, like today, go out, pick that bag up and carry it for 10 miles. If the answer is no, maybe you need to look into what can I do without, or how can I increase my fitness level to carry that bag, right? Also on the area of training, make sure that you know your first aid. Sprains, breaks, burns, bleeding, airways, all of this stuff you can run into in a really bad day situation. Also, know your land navigation. Again, know your radio. If you need a ham radio license in the area that you live in, get that license. And I'm speaking to myself. I don't have a ham radio license, but it's one of the things that I am going to get in the very near future. Also, know and plan ahead different routes. Know your escape routes if you're in an urban area and it's going to be congested. Know the time of day that certain things are congested on a good day. On a bad day, know back roads to get you out of the danger zone as quick as possible and back home to your family. Does that make sense? Let's talk a little bit about the gray man philosophy. So in the gray man philosophy, you don't want to stand out. So you're going to wear neutral or, for your area, what is considered normal clothing. For me right now, I look like I'm ready to go to work, right? So if I have a change of clothes like I showed, maybe it's just a t-shirt. It's something casual to put on. And like I said, tactical pants and shirts and backpacks and all that stuff doesn't really blend in. It makes you look like you are either law enforcement or military or maybe you look like a prepper. And you know what a prepper can be in a really bad scenario is a target of opportunity. So let's not be those things. Talking about the gray man thing, here's a view with the backpack on. Looks pretty normal. I could just be whoever going out for a walk. So let's avoid those tactical bags. Let's use a backpack like this one, which is just a simple hiking bag, right? Act like a local and not like a soldier. So here's another look. This is a little bit more water resistant. I've got my rain resistant coat on, and it just looks like I'm a normal guy doing normal things. Oh, and I have a little thing attached to this one, little signaler, a little bit of a red light, useful for certain situations. And again, let's take a look. What do I have in these pockets? Another lighter. Oh, and some dental cleanliness items, hygiene items. Then I got a energy bar in this side. And then again, another little flashlight. It's tiny, but you know what? When you need light, you need light. So multiple ways. If I'm in the dark and I need just red light and just a little bit to see by, and I want to be really stealthy, you can use this. It's very simple, but it's all attached to my system, and that's the key thing, and that's what's really important I want to drill home. Here's my final thoughts on this. It all comes down to your ability to adapt and overcome in these circumstances. I don't know if it's going to get really bad, but your everyday carry, my everyday carry, isn't just gear. It could be our lifeline. It could be my lifeline to my family. So you adapt it to your environment, to your threat level, and to your skill set. And that's really important. In a world of chaos and expanding war, you do not necessarily rise to the occasion. You fall to your level of preparedness. And that's why I'm trying to get this message out so hard. Train hard. Gear is great. Gear is fun, but train with that gear and always upgrade your knowledge base. Train hard, stay sharp, and carry smartly. I would love to hear your comments on what it is that you took away from what we've talked about, or something that would help everyone else that watches this video and myself. I want to know what works for you. I love the comments, I love the interaction, so let's keep those conversations going. I'm really glad we could have this time together and this chat over my personal EDC and my vehicle EDC. I hope that makes sense. If you're still here all the way to the end, drop the fire emoji in the comments and let me know that you made it to the end. We'll see you soon.